We're here into the game, and apparently everybody you can see moving around in some circles, just testing out their pings and making sure everything's okay. And we look like we're back into game number 2, day number 3, season number 2, week number 1 of the North American Challenger League. Yeah, it feels so good. I didn't even have to use any math that time. Success. And here we go.
I can confirm he does not have all those dates listed up as...
Nope, I closed my... Oh, okay, I didn't close my eyes, but I still got every single one of those from my brains. And speaking of brains, Zingy on Amumu, who is apparently not on the screen right now, but he's showing us his brains through that nice glass dome that he has on his head as part of the Meta Golem. I think he actually donated his head to the... I forget exactly how the Meta Golem goes. Maybe it was one of his legs? I don't remember. But Zingy playing an Amumu this time. That means it's top lane Gragas for Dragon Raider. And if you want to check things out, you can see that on Dragon Raider, he's running 39 ability power with a Doran's Ring start. So it's going to be full AP Gragas, not going for any kind of those tanky Gragases that we've seen rush Sunfire Cape and use that damage mitigation from Drunken Rage to try to make themselves even tankier. Doesn't wind up being a really big threat, so going for the full AP instead.
It's about sustained initiation, sustained DPS with that build, and it's actually a pretty cool build, but going for the AP build up top, you can just wave clear. You can actually roam very easily since the minion wave will never survive long. And it's really up to Dragon Raider to apply some pressure right now. Not get by too many cooldowns from Westrise. And you can see that body slam just doing work right now, but the auto attack damage from Westrise is
Oh, and he's got another body slam, and all it's going to take is a couple more auto attacks. Dragon Raider is going to turn this one around with a body slam. That's all it's going to take, but you have to play that one. Make sure to play it very carefully. Ignite's used on both sides, so already a lot of aggression up there in the top lane.
Yeah, Body Slam has a much shorter cooldown than Cold and Meek at level 1, so Westrise takes the brunt, but a lot more sustained. Westrise might turn this around.
Yeah, and that's actually the flash and the Body Slam back out there, but a nice Boomerang Blade traded out in the bottom lane. We'll keep some action across the map. Top lane, yeah, that level 2 for Westrise was just perfectly timed, and perfectly initiation off the back of that, was able to force out the flash. So none of that for Dragon Raider, who also has no Ignite either. So very early all-ins up top.
And a very solid start because, you know, without that flash on Gragas, he can body slam away at some point, but Renekton has both Slice and Dice to keep up, and the extra flash if he needs to go for a hard initiate at some point. Now, email support, they're being pushed in bot lane. This is pretty rough for them because, well, they take a lot of damage. At least he's going to run from the Amumu, but the stun does land.
Now Auto Orange is actually going to use that Repel over to the Dragon, and as long as you don't misclick and aggro the Dragon, Repel itself doesn't deal any damage, so getting away safe and sound, and that's one of the great reasons you can play Elise as a heavy counter jungler, because you always have that easy way to escape.
And of course, this is actually something you could really only do as the red side. Had they been on the blue side, at least would have been pincered, so it's a definite sort of movement that you can only do in some situations, and I really appreciate the Auto Orange going for that invade, but knowing he was safe because of that escape.
Now, Dragon Raider does have a little additional trade potential, as now not only does he get some extra attack damage from his Drunken Rage, which in turn makes his Body Slam do more damage. And that's actually the reason that they're removing the attack damage ratio. Ooh, flash in, Temp Name 0626, as of course Adrian X Kelsey going down for first blood. Of course, Zig taking down half of his HP off of another great gank by Auto Orange, really kind of meshing here with a team that, I mean, he's subbing for, but he's still doing very well.
Yeah, very solid gank there. They knew that the river was going to be warded because of his past escape. He was going to be coming from that angle had he gone for a gank. So Auto Orange knew it was safe to go for the lane gank. And actually, a really cool play from Sivert. Tried to block the Spiderling from Elise with her body, but unfortunately the AoE still hit Lulu in the back. Plus, it's going to be too much damage anyway, so still went down. Very solid start for Complexity Black. They have a little bit more control on the top as Renekton still has his flash and has a 12 CS lead. And of course, in the bot lane with the pushing Sivir's dealt with and the first blood, the first blood in the Caitlyn, it's a very rough start for Temp Name 3005 and Temp Name 0626. The easiest names that just roll off the tongue.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can just call them Zig or Silsal, Sticky Rice, Adrian X Kelsey, whatever you want to go for. But either way, I'm just going to go for Adrian because I think that's what he told me to say. They've told me to say quite a few things, and I'm being very selective, trust me. But Westrise is going to draw that cannon minion back to its untimely demise underneath the top lane turret as he continues to increase his CS lead against Dragon Raider, who I want to say had a lot of potential. Ooh, speaking of potential, we've got a potential kill here. Body Slam goes through that stun, but without the Body Slam actually connecting on anything, it's not going to refresh in time for him to get over that wall, and he will go down for his second death of the game, the second death of the game. First one for him, heads back to base the hard way, grabbing double Doran's rings.
This might be a game for triple Doran's rings from Gragas, actually, just because he's going to need a wave clear. Like, he cannot fight Renekton. He will not be able to fight Renekton because Renekton's just going to scale out of control with the minions he's getting right now in experience and that extra kill gold to just kind of scale him out of control. Gragas, when he falls behind in the top lane, is just incredibly weak, unfortunately. At least he's camping around the mid lane, pings onto a move. They have a feeling of where he is, so not a whole lot of action is going to come down, though Jay's still in a bit of danger. Bot lane, you can see Bubba kind of pressing forward, looking for that initiate. Spell shield was used.
Oh, nice spell shield there. So
yeah.
Did manage to get away without having any sort of room for escape, and that's the reason Sivir does so well, not only against Caitlyn, but against Annie too, because there's big, obvious spells coming your way that if you block, really turn things around. You can spell shield Annie's stun, you can spell shield the Piltover Peacemaker, and Caitlyn traps are just sort of fonts of mana that just sit around in lane, waiting for you to walk over those with spell shields. So Sivir, a great pick into this duo lane, and picks as well allows you a lot of extra auto attack trade potential with help picks, as well as the ability. It's not quite as good as like a Taric stun.
A Zingy.
Oh, a Zingy coming in there. Will force out the flash, gets the bandage toss to a minion. Oh, stuns that minion.
Just
no
a bit
champion.
too slow. The bandage toss not a fast projectile, so could not get to the minion or Caitlyn in time. Ends up hitting the minion.
Well, he flashes a flash. Oh, Dragon
yeah,
Raider goes in, hits a minion, will get that reduced cooldown from Body Slam, and with that explosive cast, will not be able to get away from Westrice. Has that flash right off cooldown, and will be able to use that to catch up to Dragon Raider and take him down.
The Dragon Raider just with a misplaced barrel, accidentally sending Westrice a little bit too close to himself, giving him actually the advantage to get away, or to secure the kill. Had it been a knockback in the opposite direction, Dragon Raider would have survived that. So that top lane it's just bad for Dragon Raider at this point. There are very few options he has available. You can see it's a DPS build coming out from Renekton in the top lane. And that's kind of a staple of Renekton right now. You go for an early damage item just to make his harass and DPS much more effective.
Oh, Mega Inferno Bomb. As Zingy sees it coming in, no questions asked. Goes for the smite, gets the blue buff, but of course it is denied from Much to Learn. And honestly, if you have that blue buff in lane versus the Ziggs, it's really easy to spam him out just with that Shock Blast spam, but not able to do that anymore. We'll have to play this a little bit more conservative.
Especially because Ziggs himself will still get his blue buff. You can see them moving towards it right now. And Jace is a very mana-intensive champion. Ziggs is a very mana-intensive and spammable champion. So being that person who's losing the push war mid, you have to go ahead, conserve your spells, look out for those ganks, look out for really anything across the map, because you can't do much. You have to sit mid, farm the CS, or you'll fall behind. As Ziggs, if he wants to, can roam to a side lane. Ziggs can also try to pressure you underneath your turret. You're just so limited in the options you have available when you're a blue buff dependent champion without blue buff versus someone like Ziggs. So this is really just kind of all the control right now towards Probably. He might just farm it up. He might roam towards the bot lane if he sees a chance. Really, Zig and Lou have to be very careful in the bot lane.
Coming in down there, has a bandage toss right into the curse of the sad mummy. Repel out, auto is going to take one more auto. Zig's just going to flash in there. There's more damage. Ziggy dropping down dangerously low, will go down there. And Zig deep underneath that turret. Ace in the hole, barriered out. Zig stays alive, but in the end, it's a 2-for-1 exchange. Auto Orange goes down. Both the Zingy and Adrian die as well.
And unfortunately for Zingy, do you know what he died to? It was the trap. It was the Caitlyn trap that actually picked him off at the very end there. So it would have been a very even trade, but unfortunately a little bit of bad luck kind of tossing things in the opposite direction. Still, 1 for 5. They picked up something. They at least picked up a kill. The Amumu ultimate not that effective versus Elise, because the second she gets out, it's just going to turn into a repel off the map and just a lot of avoidance, which is what happened there. He was able to get away, force a flash. Dragon Raider top lane is chased out by Renekton, and there's just not a lot he can do about it. He can survive. Yeah, the body slam is good for that, but he's losing so much CS, he's losing so much gold, and a Gragas that falls behind just becomes an initiation bot. Which, alright, he can get people towards his team, he can get people away from his team, but he's not doing a whole lot of damage to back it up. But Gragas does have decent base values. You cannot live off base values as an AP caster.
Especially because while Renekton has Slice and Dice, those are free. Dragon Raider's spells cost mana, and that's not an unlimited resource. It's a little bit more unlimited for Gragas because, of course, he has his Happy Hour, which gives him some mana back, but you can see it's still very low in that category. Westrice having a better time up top. 2-0 versus 0-2.
Man, I feel bad for Dragon Raider this time around. He's had some rough matchups lately, and this one is just, like, you go for the Athenes and Holy Grail still on top lane Gragas, but it's not going to do anything versus Renekton. He's building to sustain in lane like he has to, because Gragas will run out of mana without Athenes. But versus Renekton, he's just going to keep doing the same amount of damage. That magic resist just not useful. Now, 11 minutes in, Dragon has been taken. We do have that one Dragon lead for Complexity Black. They can keep laning, they can keep focusing on farming up, and because they do have a really high scaling late game team, and because Renekton's already winning his lane, it's not really a huge rush for them to make something happen. If Gragas was doing better, they might make some plays, they might try to force him out of the lane, stop him from just farming it up. But right now, because Renekton will be fine, if they just keep farming it up, probably will eventually be that really, really spammable caster with incredibly high damage. And when you have that Full Ziggs combo that can take out just people with spells,
gosh, Annie right in there forcing out the flash from Adrian. I'm not sure there was too much follow-up there, but you never know where the jungler is. That time around, Ottawa's just right there to capitalize, so if you didn't blow that flash, it would have been a little bit rougher. Now Zingy right in bandage toss range, but he doesn't have the initiation on that. A nice ward over the wall as well from Prolly to keep him safe for now.
And Prolly's close enough, you can always satchel charge and not really worry about Curse of the Sad Mummy either. It's going to be up to the burst combo to really take him down mid lane, which he is at about half HP. With the help of Namumu, they could make work happen, but at the same time, Zingy's already fallen behind Elise, has to go ahead, farm up the jungle, has to stay relevant. Doesn't want to be like Gragas. If they have a lot of champions that have no gold but can initiate, it's just not going to be worth it. It's probably taken low in the mid lane, but is able to retreat.
Yeah, Dragon Raider also taken down pretty low, but you're going to be seeing a whole lot more of that. There's Pep's name, 0626, Adrian taken down to a half HP. Will draw out that giant growth, but a nice Curse of the Sad Mummy as Ottawa gets caught out into that. He is going to go down off of a Boomerang Blade. Now Robert X Lee down to about 300 hits points.
Those bouncing blades is taking him down. He's still at 300, able to sustain at least a little bit, but great flash from Roberto, who's able to get out of the Curse of the Sad Mummy, which would have secured a kill onto him. And this is kind of a Zingy playstyle that he wants to play with a Sivir. On the hunt, chase that down as Zamumu, don't rely on Bandage Toss, don't rely on spells that can be avoided, and just get that CC initiation reliably. That's going to be even stronger late game, but they have to have someone that can actually survive that damage. And this is Sivir's time to shine. Now they have taken some advantage. They have very little mana on her, which is unfortunate, but they have a lot of DPS, a lot of burst, and Roberto is dangerously low on HP that if Sivir does get enough mana from a Boomerang Blade, she can actually combo him down very quickly with the help of Lulu.
Westry still ahead in the top lane. What you're talking about there in the bottom, Zingy just continuing to camp that out, knowing that he has the extra move speed that Zig is going to offer him. That's something that's working out pretty well in lane, but we haven't really seen those big 5-on-5 team fights. Once this game gets to 30, 40 minutes, and it's just groups of 5 people running around the map trying to kill each other, that combo is ridiculously strong because you can't really run away from it because you'll get out position and you'll just have your base taken down extremely, extremely quickly. So I'm really looking forward to like the 20-25 minute mark once we start to see these big 5-man team fights. Dragon Raider throwing out that explosive cast, knows he's about to get dove. Westrice is right in there standing on top of him. Too much HP, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Westrice, the best Strice in the top lane, taking him down for his 3rd kill of the game.
And Westrice just had the mind games there. He called out the defensive body slam from Gragas going the opposite direction, trying to bait him out, and it just did not work. He got the perfect dice right on through. I was able to secure that kill. Very, very solid play. Very good mind game right there. And this is just Gragas dying over and over with the explosive cast down, used for CS. Renekton knew there was nothing to actually keep him out of the turret range. He could get slowed, but it's really just not that scary to him.
I think he's going to find Westrice up there, and keep in mind, Westrice can run whenever he wants to. So he can fight as long as he wants and then slice over the wall. I think he's taken down to half hit points. Well, it's chunk Westrice out pretty well. That red buff actually doing a lot there, but
if Curse of the Sad Mummy had been up, he could have stayed. He could have actually picked up the kill, but it just was not available at the time.
Yeah, might have been a little bit risky too because, hey, you're using an AoE ult on just one person. If you can pick up the kill, that's cool because killing spree gold would be nice right now, but something tells me you're about to see a few more kills onto Westrice's. But he didn't get initiation over that wall. Zingy waiting to go in, doesn't quite have that range to initiate.
Satchel Charge makes it so hard to actually go gank through the mid lane. This is very difficult for Zingy. And Elisa herself with Repel is going to make it even harder.
Zig able to dodge away from a lot of that damage. And look at Bubba Dub. He's taken down below half health. Doesn't want to go backwards for the all-in. Robert X Lee down to 200 hit points. He's not going to be a factor in these upcoming team fights, but Auto Orange will, as he is roaming down bottom, looking for a dive.
And Dragon Raider also leaving the top lane as well, has to make something happen, knows he cannot get anywhere near Renekton right now. People kind of grouping up in the bot lane. You can't see Dragon Raider still kind of hovering around mid. Actually going to be stuck in the river. We're going to meet Renekton there as well. Much to learn. Get some decent poke onto Probably going to clear out a ward though that revealed him. And it's kind of all grouping up. They're going to converge on the mid lane. This might be a big 3v2. Could be huge for Complexity.
Yeah, nice stun in there onto Much to Learn. He's going to avoid most of that bomb damage and satchel charge against the wall. Nothing else to follow up, so he stays alive. Westrise coming down from top lane just in time for Dragon. Doesn't have to worry about his top turret at all because Dragon Raider still not a very big factor in the game.
And that was a slick flash from Much to Learn. He's able to dodge out, but not into the Ziggs bomb, which might have put him in range to die to a flash and follow up from the members of Complexity Black. I really love the play, though. You go forward. If you get something, you get a kill. You can go ahead, take a turret, take a dragon. If not, just take dragon anyways. Dragon Raider will be hit by the stun. Will it be follow-up, though? Westrise is there. He's in it.
He's going to drop aggro, and then Auto Orange drops aggro, gives it to Westrise, who takes it up, drops down the Dominus, and now with a very strong push into that middle lane, it's going to be up to a Zingy to maybe bandage toss in there for some hero mode plays, because the rest of his team is just not responding. He hits the B button, goes back to base, and that second tier mid turret could be in a little bit of trouble, but wisely backing away. Complexity Black aren't going to overstay their welcome.
Like, how do you initiate into that team as a Mumu? I like a Mumu. I like a Mumu picks. They're fun, but this team is just so weak versus him, unfortunately. Or weak for him, unfortunately. Probably will be able to escape a lot of situations. Roberto's already actually outplayed the Curse of the Sad Mummy, the well-timed splash. Lulu might be in a bit of danger now. There are a lot of people in the area. Out comes the stun.
Yeah, Mr. Tibbers in there, making himself known. Mega Inferno Bomb into that cocoon. Perfect combo, and taking him down. It's actually Elise, the Auto Orange, that picked up the kill there. One more death gives Complexity Black their 7th of the game. And while it's actually Zig doing pretty well at 2-0, his lane opponent, also 2-0, has pretty much the same monetization and a support that hasn't died 3 times. And to be honest, there's also that same situation in the top lane, 0-3 versus the 3-0 Westrise. And I'm pretty sure we saw this yesterday with Renekton versus Shyvana. Renekton just ate her, and now it's the same thing here for Westrise versus Dragon Raiders Gragas. Now, granted, he got probably the best lane that he possibly could have asked for. When you have a squishy AP carry who builds magic resistance against you, it's a good lane for any Raider.
Yeah, there's not a lot Gragas can do. You might see tier build sometimes. He's going to try and get out of this. Should be okay to at least escape. Stun does land on a Dragon Raider, though, but Dragon Raider far enough away not to worry about initiation. The Gragas might have had to go for a tier build this time around. I mean, when you build AP Gragas in the top lane, it's a risk. And when you'd already fallen behind, it's an even bigger risk. And at best, you hope for clearing out the minion wave before Renekton can respawn. But Westrise has been so aggressive and so far forward with his Ravenous Hydra that he's out pushing Gragas. He's keeping him underneath his own turret and just able to dive at any point, especially when explosive cast does go down. So it's been very well played by Westrise, and Dragon Raider took a risk and got called on it so hard. Now, I got to give credit too to the Auto Orange for working with Probably. He needs to land a stun to actually get Probably's ultimate to land, because there's so much move speed between Jace and Sivir that you can just run out of the Super Mega Inferno Bomb. And it has such a delay that people will actually be able to escape it just from walking out of it. So if Elise sets up stuns like he did with probably earlier onto Lulu to guarantee the ultimate, all of a sudden all the escape options that come with the Sivir ultimate and the Jace acceleration gate are completely reduced to nothing, because they're just going to hit by a probably ultimate, which is so strong and a good way to counter out that defensive option. That was going to be a safe way to play for email support later on. They can just kind of get into a team fight, then run away with a Sivir ultimate and acceleration gate if it goes sour, and that's how they can roam across the map. But if Probably's landing ultimates with the help of the Auto Orange, or just any sort of ranged CC, that escape option is just completely neutered.
Now, I don't know if any of you guys watching remember back in Season 3, very early on, there was this Xin Zhao Orianna combo that worked out very well, where you put the ball on Xin Zhao, he'd charge in, and then you just pull everybody away. This is kind of the same thing. I'll finish that thought later as Adrian taking down very low. Wild Growth himself. Auto Orange gets out over the wall to Zig, who is actually very strong, flashes the cocoon, and picks up the kill onto Auto Orange's Elise. Dragon Raider going to body slam back in, knock Westrise back into the team. But with that barrel missing and another dice there left, Renekton. He will make it out alive. Still a nice kill onto Orange as you see Zig getting aggressive there, picking that one up for himself. To finish my thought earlier, the problem with that earlier composition is that sometimes Xin Zhao could push everybody away before the Orianna ult went off. Well, this time around, you actually have Gragas' explosive cask that could push everybody away from a Zingi's ultimate. Westry's actually taking a ton of damage there, much to learn. Gonna almost have that kill stolen on the Dragon Raider.
He got Jaced. Like, that is just getting dunked on. That is the Jace slam damage. Westryce
you don't expect that, because who plays against Jace anymore?
Who plays against Jace? And Renekton has no physical defense. He is built to crush Gragas, which he is certainly doing. Like, that build is incredibly good versus crushing Gragas. But Jace, there is some magic damage in his build, yeah, but a lot of it's physical. He does have the Bloodthirster and Brutalizer, and that completely magic defense-oriented build is getting dominated by Jace. Jace was just he wrecked him. Like, that's all there is to say about it. That was a full Jace combo, a little bit of damage from Dragon Raider, and that was it for Westryce. So this might be the chance. This might be the email support transgression. They have to go ahead, start playing around the Jace pick, start trying to use Jace to pick off Renekton, maybe leave Dragon Raider towards the mid lane again, and then maybe able to go ahead, make some stuff happen, kind of win back their lanes. And if they keep playing a lane-focused game on the side of complexity, they do risk being outlaned by Much to Learn, who is... We haven't really talked about him a lot because he's mostly been farming, but 205 CS, 101, he's pretty tremendous right now.
But while you may see some individual picks, like Zig did in the last team fight, Much to Learn just did right there onto Westryce, it's not necessarily the laning or the individual one-on-one game that's winning Complexity Black, the gold lead right now. It's the global pressure, and you can see that just reflected not in the kills, but in the Dragons, 2-0, and in, of course, the turrets as well as the other global objective, 3-1. Much to Learn getting hit there by a sniper shot right through the rest of his team, and I would have rather aggro Dragon there, but a nice barrel landing onto Ottawa.
Yeah, it's okay for Jace to get hit by the ultimate, actually, because he does have a Bloodthirster, so he will sustain. But during that time he's sustaining, the enemy team can take Dragon, which is exactly what Complexity are going for. Should be down in a few seconds or so, but can they make a fight happen on the side of email support? And that barrel! Oh, that barrel was close. That barrel had a chance. It could have been the one barrel, but unfortunately could not steal the Dragon.
There's explosive cask available too for Dragon Raider, and while he doesn't actually have a ton of ability power, when you combo those two moves together, the barrel roll and the explosive cask, just does so much damage. And with Smite not really dealing all that much damage at all, it's not that easy to, it's not that difficult to steal it away. But want to save that ultimate for the next fight. And
I mean, last time Gragas used that ultimate for a minion or monster, Westryce immediately killed him. So
yeah, it doesn't really
I can see why he's a little bit wary about doing that. But initiation in the bot, we hear the Sivir ult.
And there's actually Orange forced to repel. Zingi's going to get in there for two. Bubba just blown apart as Dragon Raider picks up his first kill of the game. Robert actually forced to flash over the wall, but here is Westryce coming in, going huge as he is forced to retreat away from the team. Zingi with a huge bandage toss picks up the kill, but is a little bit too much damage. Now Dragon Raider Ignite is still staying alive there. Shock Blast way in there, forcing Orange to flash away. Stays alive, so ultimately it's a 2-for-1, but the team fight win in favor of email support.
Complexity Black, though, they still have a lot of HP on some of their members. They could go for that bottom turret. I mean, probably played a great backline. Ziggs doesn't have quite enough damage to burst down the entire team with just a minefield, but he was able to secure a lot of DPS early. He was able to kind of win out that fight in the end with his constant poke, and that's why that bottom turret very easily secured by Complexity, because everyone was so low from that Ziggs poke they had to retreat. This is a good pace, though, for email support. They can definitely win a team fight. They can definitely break apart Complexity Black, who don't really have a tanky initiator. The tanky initiator is going to be Elise or Annie, I guess.
Nice little steal there on the red buff. Much to Learn keeps that in his pocket. We'll take that one down. Keep it from going over to Robert X. Lee, who does go back to base and pick up his Phantom Dancer, so he's got a couple items in there, but actually a little bit behind Zig, who, with all those, no pun intended, flashy plays, have been able to pick himself up 4 kills and only 1 death alongside that. So you've got Bloodthirsters for 80 carries, and a Bloodthirster there on to Much to Learn, who, like you said, actually dealing a ton of damage, has 1,600 gold in his pocket too, so it's almost on his way to that last Whisper.
Westryce, he's getting to that point where he can start a fight, but a Renekton, when he starts a fight, it's not that scary unless he gets to the AD carry, just because he only has 1 single target stun, he has no slow, he has a lot of ways to move into a fight, but doesn't really do a whole lot besides deal damage, and his damage is quite high, so there's that that's nice about it. But unless he gets to Jace or Sivir, it really doesn't matter that much if he gets to a backline target. Dragon Maker or Dragon Raider can just go ahead, dodge on back, be A-OK and safe. Alu will have her ultimate, and it's also the support. So it's up to a Flash Tibbers or the Auto Orange to get a good stun for that catch. And this is where the run comp, the rushdown comp, works well versus everybody but Ziggs, because they can just kind of break through that. It's like, you're going to stun one of us and start a fight off that, let's chase you down. Probably is all about that kite, though, and if he just spams out those bombs, it only takes 1 or 2 bombs to land before someone's at half HP on the side of email support. So it's going to be up to Probably Ziggs plays. You have to believe right now in Probably if you want to see them win a defensive team fight.
Right, but if you want to see email support win a team fight, you actually recall in Champion Select, Azingi was hovering over that Volibear instead. And I was like, Volibear, that's a little troll. It's not something you see all that often. Supe was able to bring it out in LCS and do quite well with it, but it works so well with, like you said, this rushdown comp. You've got On the Hunt from Sivir, and an addition that you don't expect to have there in the
Acceleration
Gate. Exactly. You've also got Pix's
the Whimsy.
Whimsy, yeah, as well. So
that's a fast team.
And it's all going to go on to Azingi, too. He's going to speed his way right in there like a Gungan sub and get in there and curse the Sad Mummy, which either means you have no friends or no friends around you as everybody else dies. So waiting for that next team fight. And there he goes. There's On the Hunt and the Acceleration Gate trying to get in there. A huge cocoon! Oh my god, Auto Orange single-handedly negated that entire initiation attempt from email support.
That's got a sting, just wrapped up in the webbing. Could not make it past the least. The spiders, they will trap you up like that.
You've got like 600 move speed, and they can't sidestep that little stun.
Yeah, that move speed does not last very long. Of course, On the Hunt does have that immediate burst. The Acceleration Gate does fade over time, so getting hit by that stun is massive, and that's actually huge for Complexity Black, because without On the Hunt available now, they know they can push far forward. There's still Acceleration Gate, but now that Renekton's kind of distracted, much to learn up top lane, that Acceleration Gate isn't there for mid lane initiation. The push is on as that barrier does absorb a little bit of damage, but that's a long cooldown used, which is something that could just be sustained.
It's the battle over the white here for Much to Learn and Westrice. And look at an update on how that one's going to go. Probably Westrice able to take that one down. He's going to have to burst it. We'll actually take it away there. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, once again, the push continues for Complexity Black.
Complexity Black just keeping up that pressure. On the Hunt will be up in about 20 or 25 seconds, so not the longest amount of time on the cooldown for the ultimate, so they can go for that rushdown initiation one more time. Renekton versus Jace. Jace, though, gets hit by the Caitlyn ultimate.
And goes down, able to dodge away from that Mega Inferno Bomb, but just like, that's a little bit of appropriate revenge there. Westrice just got dominated by Much to Learn early on in the game, turns that domination right back around. And granted, he's picked up some extra items since then, so it's no surprise to see that turned in his favor. The choice to complete the Black Cleaver instead of completing Last Whisper, really, really key in that fight because there's just not as much armor penetration.
Yeah, Westrice does have a Warden's Mail, and actually Black Cleaver is worse versus Warden's Mail compared to Last Whisper because you have that reduced attack speed. So that solid pickup from Westrice will make that fight a lot easier. Plus the Caitlyn ultimate, they wanted to shut down Much to Learn, and they did as they needed to, just because that stops a lot of the reliable initiation. It makes it that much harder for Azingi to get into a fight, and having that numbers advantage, they almost baited out Baron, but not quite. Baron's still gonna be alive in the pit, and no crazy initiation from Complexity in any sort of bait or catch. They do have Jace back up. The top turret was taken, so overall a very, very well-used power play from Complexity. Dragon is secured for the first time this game, I believe, by email support. They have all their speed ups again. Can they send Azingi that Amumu Torpedo to the enemy team to try and land that Curse of the Sad Mummy? It's possible, but they do have Flash available on most champions besides Probably, so they could try and dodge it out.
Well, we've actually seen this once. I think it was in day number 1. We had like 3 flashes away from, it was maybe a top lane Malphite. I'm trying to remember where that was. It might have been in the qualifiers, but when you have all your flashes up, big initiation attempts, like ones that Azingi is going to try to get off with Curse of the Sad Mummy, become a little bit less reliable. It's the same thing like if you're trying to avoid Malphite ult or any big CC that you kind of know is coming. I mean, it's no surprise what Azingi wants to do. The surprise is going to be how quickly he's able to do it. And he gets hit by cocoons like he did in that last one. Auto Orange, and to a lesser extent Westrice, who doesn't really mind if he gets cocooned, is really going to be able to turn this initiation strategy back around on email support.
Email support, they have to look for that opening, and they do have decent damage now, but you know, Dragon Raider, he's still doing just okay. Deathcap Athene's and Holy Grail is a solid build, but this late in the game compared to some of the other items, let's say the Deathcap Athenes and now almost finished Zonia's on a Probably, it's going to be hard to contend with. That's actually a really solid pickup, by the way. Probably should be finishing Zonia's right about now as he goes back to base. There's that Hourglass, and with that defensive Hourglass, if he gets hit by a Zingi's ultimate, he can toss down the Satchel, activate the Zonia's. As soon as the Zonia's ends, he'll Satchel right away, and he'll be out of the fight, and he'll be safe. Ish. If he gets hit by a Namumo, you're never really quite safe. So that's a really solid pick. It's going to make it that much harder for email support to initiate. And that's the problem, because as the game goes on, you're going to see a mid-kills come out, possibly on Bubba Dub. You're going to see a lot more defensive items, maybe like a Banshee's Veil, maybe like something similar to Azonia's and other champions, and it just makes it that much harder to actually lock people down with that Amumu ultimate. And Zingi becomes weaker, and that really kind of is the crux of the email support plan right now.
Complexity Black setting up for Baron, most likely not to take, but rather to just bait out a fight. Because when you have a team that runs really fast, it's only a threat if it's running towards you. When you force it to run away, that's a good way to keep yourself from taking too much damage. So starting off the Baron and then forcing email support to come to them is a nice way to sort of turn that engagement right back around onto the team. And engaging into an Amumu is always a little bit tricky, but something tells me that when you have Auto Orange and Westrise as such a big front line and enough stun and CC knockbacks to keep Robert Exley safe in the back, Complexity Black looking to have a pretty nice roster to deal with this engage. Email support, I need a little bit more initiation, maybe a little bit more sneakiness to try to find an engage.
I mean, the sneakiness you can have as a fast team is actually really, really amazing, because you can always surprise people. Oh, and this is the sneaky Baron. Westrise, Auto Orange, and Roberto just taking it down over the wall, down to about, I'd say, quarter HP. They're going to get this. There's no initiation from email support. God. There you go. There's the Baron.
And Dragon Raider got there, but just too little too late. And Baron buffs are nice, but if you wind up just dying after you get it, then it doesn't actually matter all that much. So they have to stay alive, and it does look like they'll actually be the ones going on the aggressive. Sometimes with a Baron buff, you can actually get the Baron buff, go back to base, and use the first half to set up for the second half. But at this point in time, it looks like Complexity Black are just down with a push. Keep in mind, they all have about 1,000 gold or more, almost 2,000 gold there for Robert X. Lee. So going back to base is actually a pretty good idea, because it does give them the ability to spend all that gold on items to help them out with this push. But for now, I think they can get maybe a little bit more. They just, this middle lane.
They cannot get too overconfident. They do have a lot more regeneration on the tank line, but if they mess up, they will still most certainly die. Like, it's still a lot of damage, a lot of initiation, and they have to be very cautious. They have to play this poke-oriented game, because if they just kind of go for that big, let's dive in team fight, what could go wrong? The Amumu ultimate come out with Gragas ultimate, come out with Jace damage. It's still quite intense. As Roberto taking a half HP.
God. One shock blast.
They could go for
half
this.
Health, and getting that as Mumu into position as Zingi not able to find the engage that he wanted. And so nice kiting backward there by Robert X. Look at that Bloodthirster health regen. Holy cow, back up to full.
Yeah, that is Phantom Dancer, Bloodthirster. Those crits, that last Whisper, that much damage. Ultimate comes out, and Dragon Raider does not get hit by the stun. Will survive, at least for now. The stun had landed. He probably actually would have been initiated on and bursted by Westrise. They take out this mid turret, and despite a lot of pressure, and despite Dragon Raider forced to flash the Ziggs ultimate, they're still able to go ahead, go for some pressure. Auto Orange is actually hit with the Gragas ultimate out.
Yeah,
Clask is gone. That's actually huge.
I'm thinking Dragon Raider meant to knock Auto Orange in the other direction, but it's going to be actually that on the hunt thrown down by Zig. He's trying to kite away from everything. A nice curse this Adam Mummy hits onto 4, but it's not the 4 you want. There's no follow-up. Now it's Zingi's forced to flash away. Auto Orange gets the engage there and the kill. But that venomous bite probably forces Zanya's out there, but now it's Zig trying to run away from literally the entire enemy team. Of course, with the exception of Bubba Dub, who is the casualty of war here for Complexity Black. Kind of trapped inside this turret, and as Zig tries to clear out those minions, Auto Orange will push him away. The first base turret of the game goes down to Complexity Black.
I mean, emo support trying to hold this, have everybody in the area, but they just can't do anything. They're also low on HP. They need that reliable Azingi stun, and that was a great way to break the lines. They had already poked down Dragon Raider. His explosive cast was gone, so had Azingi even gotten a better ultimate off even sooner, well, they didn't have that big disruptive teamfight ultimate to really spread out and force Complexity to kind of play a catch-up recovery game. So, no explosive cask available, very solid initiation. I like that delay. I like how they really kind of abused the the defensive nature of Dragon Raider's play right there. He played nervous. He's played cautiously in the past. We've seen him use the ultimate just kind of like going for the creep wave, going for that little bit of harass, and just not worth it in that case, unfortunately. Dragon does go down, and that's, let's see, a 11,000 gold lead in favor of Complexity Black now.
We're 35 minutes into the game, and I actually made reference to this point in the game a little bit earlier when I said this composition for email support, all they really have to do is just win one, win one fight. I was a little bit worried there for Dragon Raider, but at least for the time being, he's going to stay safe and sound. Now, Zingy coming around there. Might have been there for, you know, just some moral support, but email support, they have a team fight comp, and as long as they can get everything exactly right, we're starting to get to that point in the game where the early game kind of fades away into the distance. Nobody really remembers it. Everybody has the items that they need to have effective fights, and when you look at the damage, it's certainly there for email support. They just need the engage to make it stick.
Yeah,
Ooh. Thorn Mail just bought there by West Rice.
Yeah, that's going to be the kicker. There goes Jace's sustain, actually. So Thorn Mail, the way it works out, you don't really do that much damage in response unless you have a huge amount of armor, which actually West Rice does, so it will probably do DPS. But at a minimum, you stop the sustain from lifesteal items, unless someone has like 4 Bloodthirsters, in which case you've got other issues going on.
Yeah.
So that Thorn Mail is going to make Jace very squishy if he goes for West Rice, and it'll let any sort of follow-up damage, just West Rice's base damage, help take him out very quickly. And that's a really... I really like Thorn Mail pickups in specific cases like this, where you're looking to shut down that one guy that has a lot of auto-attack damage, has a lot of lifesteal, and can just tear that to pieces. West Rice takes a barrel to the face, does not care about it, actually sustains most of that back, killing a ward.
Hey, wards are pretty good. I remember seeing, back in Season 3, seeing double lifts sustain off of a ward. Might have been Season 2 finals, but either way, it's nice to see West Rice as a top laner, a lane that most people say can't carry anymore, really doing a lot of work for his team. 5-2-1, the best score in the game, and I mean, Zig is trying to compete with that, but actually, Auto Orange takes a couple crits and has to be a little bit more careful there. Much to learn. He's got an incredible amount of damage. Basically, every single damage item he's looking for already in his inventory. I mean, basically, the only other thing we would buy is like for offense, maybe a Yomu's Ghost Blade, something to stack up that armor penetration. But instead, it's going to be defensive focus, just getting a ton of extra magic resistance.
Yeah, there's just so much magic poke, and he has to avoid the magic burst and the West Rice damage. He's banking on being able to outplay and outmaneuver West Rice versus the magic damage, which it's hard to dodge when you're already dodging a big old gator. This is rough for email support. They might have to go for that big initiation, just make something happen at some point, because now they're getting poked down that bottom lane turret. Won't be around for too long, though. Auto Orange has taken a decent chunk of damage. The Baron buff has worn off, so no longer sustaining them right back up.
Push continues as another wave of minions filters into that bottom lane as one auto attack after another from Robert X. Lee falls there onto that turret. It's going to go down eventually. Now, base turrets here in Season 4 do regenerate health, but it's not like they're just going to heal it back up to full, and might actually get a chance to now that Complexity Black are backing away. 30 seconds left on Baron.
And when that Baron comes up, will Complexity just go for the straight-up team fight? That might be the one chance for email support to get that big ol' AoE smorgasbord they're looking for. But if they don't, well, we can see the baits come out. We can see some more careful, calculated play. You can see Complexity Black, they're okay with the late game just because Caitlyn scales so well into it with her high range. And Ziggs himself is... Ziggs is tremendous now. Ziggs is now at that point where if he gets a Lich Bane, he can actually combo people down just with his auto attack and maybe 1 or 2 spells. And right now it's going to take 2 or 3 spells to burst someone down. Ziggs' damage is phenomenally high at this point in the game. So they're A-okay waiting it out even more. On the hunt is used. They're checking the Baron pit, walking right into the trap though.
Oh, and there's the counter engage immediately. Mega Inferno Bomb chunks down Adrian and Dragon Raider. They still have yet to put their damage right back out of there. Just West Rice zoning out the entire email support team. Much to learn on the other side is forced to flash away there from the stun. Damage coming down there. The headshot proc. A bouncing bomb will not land, and he's still going to be alive for now, and it's Robert X. Lee going deep behind enemy lines and taking out Much to Learn's Jace. So not the place you want to engage onto a nice attempt there, but email support will now lose their first inhibitor of the game and probably their base as well.
Yeah, bottom turret not going to be long for this world. They do have 4 members strong, and they do have a Zingy's ultimate. They have to make something happen now before they lose too much, but that might be too late. Zingy's ultimate is used. It hits too. Odd Orange is chased out. The explosive cast will do some damage. Down goes the Zingy. Is there any going to be a follow-up?
There's Adrian going to go down there. One more auto attack from Westrise going to take him out. No! Westrise overextends and is actually his own untimely demise. He's dead, but so is the second inhibitor there for email support. And while Complexity Black may be forced to back off, that's still an overall team fight win. 2 inhibitors off of that push.
Let's see, 2 inhibitors. Baron is still up, so they can very easily go for that objective, as with 2 inhibitors down, all of email support will be stuck in their base. Unless they go for Baron right now. This is like their only chance to do it, but most likely not going to make that aggressive play, as it is very risky and he'll be spotted by a million wards on the way to the pit. So with 2 inhibitors down, we've seen this time and time again, you do a push top, and eventually someone, most likely Jace, will go to deal with the other waves. And if Jace or Sivir are not in that team fight, well, Complexity can just start a fight really quickly, burst someone down, and by the time Jace or Sivir shows up, it'll be too late for them to do anything, if they even could do something at this point. Baron buff will probably be taken as well, just because it's not hard for a Complexity to take it, unless email support go for it, but this is the risky all-in. They know they can't hold with 2 inhibitors down. They're just going for this play. This will not work, but maybe they can bait out a good team fight.
This is the desperate of desperate Barons. It's down to half health. It's being taken down incredibly quickly. And they actually might get this if they focus it. Odd Orange is getting there. He gets the Baron steal, adding insult to injury. The end of this game almost died. Baron buff is down. One bouncing bomb catches a Zingy. Probably those heat-seeking bombs able to pick himself up a kill. There is going to be Zig falling, and actually Adrian able to get himself away from there somehow. But there's not a whole lot stopping Complexity Black from pushing into email support space.
They've got 3 members strong. Probably is low on HP. Same thing with the Odd Orange, but the Odd Orange does have that massive sustain from Baron. So what's the plan going to be? The GGs have come out. Looks like it's just going to be, well, take the loss. They played a good game on email support, but going up against these 5 strong members of Complexity with these items, with the Baron buff, it's going to be almost impossible to stop. As down go the Nexus turrets. Nexus should survive for a good 4 or 5 seconds.
And that is going to be the Nexus falling here after a few more kills come the way. Complexity Black looking to pad their KDAs here as they close out their series versus email support.
That goes Prolly.
Prolly dying there at the end. Dragon Raider finally picking up his 3rd kill of the game. Makes him even, so it doesn't reflect his early start. The Nexus will fall, and Complexity Black take the win over email support.
Oh, cool, the double explosion. I love it. I love it. I haven't seen that one in a while.
Even better. 2 explosions for the price of